Hello, welcome to Using Canvas to Submit Assignments and Stay Organized, another one of our academic success workshops. In this workshop, our goals are to make sure that you can find the notification settings so you can customize what notifications you get. We also want you to learn how to use features such as the dashboard reminders and the calendar to keep aware of important due dates. Also, we want you to be able to locate what kind of file you need to upload when you submit an assignment. So we'll do this by talking about some basic Canvas navigation, some of the features that there are for staying organized, as well as some communication features for communicating with your classmates as well as your instructor. We're going to talk about working with assignments and introduce you to the Canvas app for mobile devices. And for this screencast, if you have any questions, we'll ask you to use the discussion post in the modules in the Academic Success Workshops Canvas course. So first of all, we're going to talk about the global navigation, class navigation, and dashboard control. So let me jump over to Canvas now so we can actually look at those. So the global navigation screen is the screen that you see here on the left. And it is constant, it is always there no matter what we click on. This is more of our dashboard here where it says dashboard, where we can select which class we would like to view. Also over here there are some nice features. Notice there's a coming up and a recent feedback, but because I'm recording this in between the semesters, it's not showing that anything is due, but usually you would have items that are here for you to do and submit. You can also quickly view grades, kind of see it holistically, although I'm going to talk a little bit more about looking at grades for a specific course later on in the workshop. So now we have the global navigation and the class navigation. We have talked about our dashboard, so I almost missed the dashboard control. So if you ever end up in a class and you know you're enrolled and you're not seeing it here, there's a little trick to making sure you can view it here, and that's to click on Courses in your global navigation menu and then select All Courses, and it'll come up a list with all your courses. Notice some of these, the little star is filled in, and some of them they are not. So this one that's not, if I then click this, it will now show up on my dashboard. There it goes. So now if I click dashboard, I now have an additional class that's there. Most of the time what you need to see is there, but sometimes when you first add something, it may not show up, such as the Academic Success Workshop series. I'm not sure if you need to do this for that or not. But this one I kind of move and put it there when I need it and take it off when I don't, just so it's less to look at. At the end of the semester, those classes usually naturally disappear at a certain point, but if they're still there, again, you can go into the courses, select all course, and then deselect the little star to get rid of it. Okay, so now I've introduced you to global navigation, and we haven't talked about class navigation yet, so let's click into a class. I'm going to select Academic Success Workshops. Notice on the left here, there's a lot of stuff that's grayed out here, and that's because since I'm an instructor and I can change this, it looks a little different. So let me go into student view. Now you notice in this one we have two really simple options. So each instructor controls what you see in this in-class navigation, so it may look different depending on the classes and how the teacher wants to set up the course. In this one we simply have our home page and our modules. So let's talk about some features for staying organized, such as reminders, notification settings, calendars, and also I'm going to talk about a what if feature in the grades. The reminders, I've already mentioned that they're come up on the dashboard automatically. So you can always use those to make sure you stay organized and make sure nothing falls under your radar that's coming up. So make sure to take advantage of that. Now we're going to talk about the notification settings. So the notification settings you get to by clicking on Account in the global navigation window and then go to Notifications. And this one brings up this chart. Mine may have more columns than you may see in yours, depending on how you've had your Canvas set up. But you'll notice for each of these, Some have 4 options, some have 2. So if they have 4, you can tell Canvas to either notify you right away, send a daily summary, send a weekly summary, or don't send you anything at all. And you can define it for all of these different course activities, discussion posts, conversations, scheduling, conferences. You'll notice it is different for mobile devices. So for example, this push notifications is because I have Canvas downloaded on an iPad, so a type of tablet, and you simply get a yes or no, an on or off. You can also add a cell phone number as well. And again, your choice is only off or off for that. But that may be useful to do some things to your cell phone to remind you about, and other things that you may not want to see there. So you can definitely customize the notifications to make sure you're seeing exactly what you want to see. And in fact, you may need to play with it a little bit. If you get notifications that you don't want to get, come back in and figure out what to turn off, or see if you can get some help. And then other ones you may want to turn on if you're finding you're not getting the type of notifications that you want to receive. So that is the notification settings. Next, we're going to talk about the calendar. The calendar you find here in the global navigation menu. And it's nice because you can see what is due in any given month. I'm going to go backwards. Let's go backwards to November. Give it a second and it'll update. So here we can see different classes and different assignments that are due. They're all color-coded. And you might be thinking, well, this is nice, but I have another calendar that I use, and I'd rather view these things on that calendar. Well, guess what? There's an easy way to add this to most other calendars. And down here in this right-hand corner where it says Calendar Feed, click on that, and there is a link, and that's what you'll use in your calendar. So if you use Google Calendar, you simply go to Add Calendar, add from URL, and pop that in there. I think most other calendars would probably work that way as well. So you can always add it to another calendar that will then, of course, show up on your mobile device if you choose to do that. So that is the calendar feature. So next we're going to talk about the what if grade feature. I just had to check my notes real quick because I have to be careful so I don't show any student information. So I have little notes to remind me what to do and where to go, things like that. So for this one, I'm going to select the academic success workshops, and then I'm in settings. I'm going to go to student view. You wouldn't have to do this, of course, but I have this extra step to show you. And actually, this was not a good example, so sorry, let me back up. I picked the wrong class. So that won't work. Let me do library science, and then I'll go into student settings. So it looks like what a student would see. So you'll notice this navigation looks a little different than the academic success workshops Canvas course, and that's because this was set up differently since this is more of a traditional class, whereas the academic success workshops are independent learning modules for you to use. So in here, I'm going to select grades. And then I see a list of grades. And since I'm here as a test student, I don't have a lot of stuff done, but occasionally I will test things. But let's just say, for example, I've done really well all semester long. And then now it's getting kind of busy in my life. So right now I see I have 90% in the class, which is great, but I'm getting really nervous because I have a lot of stuff that's due this week here. In this case, it's October 18th already in the past. But let's say I have some other assignments that are due in there, and I have some childcare issues, and I have to work more. So then I have to decide, well, how much time do I need to spend studying in this class versus the other classes that I'm in? So I could always put in a little what if scenario, since you'll notice I've already typed in numbers for the grades. And then if I scroll down, it shows me what my grade will look like in the class. So hopefully this is not something you'll have to do, but we also want to be realistic. And if you end up with a lot of stuff due in 1 week, you may need to reduce your level of stress by looking at these what if grade features, because you might be able to show yourself that, hey, I don't have to have a perfect score and I'll still get the grade that I would like to get. And of course, you can also use this to motivate yourself. If you really wanted to get that A, it's like, well, okay, if on this quiz, what would I have to get? What's the least amount I have to get an A in the class? So it looks like in this case, 7. So we could try 6. So it looks like I would have to get 6 out of 10 on that quiz. So that might help motivate me to study and be ready for that quiz. So that is the what if grade features. And whatever you change on this page, it does not actually change anything. Notice there's a revert to actual score here on the right. You can also save this, but I went to revert to actual scores, so we know what I really got in the class if I was taking it. So that is what if feature. So all these features here, the reminders, the notification settings, and the calendar, they should all help you stay organized and manage your time accordingly by using Canvas. Now I want to talk about some communication features next. I'm going to talk about the email feature in Canvas as well as discussion post. So for the email, I'm going to actually bring up some screenshots just so I can protect privacy. You'll notice in the inbox, this inbox is all within Canvas. Whenever you email this, your teacher would have to actually go into Canvas to view this, not their school email. So if you sent an email to their @yccd.edu account, that goes into however they check their email for that. If you send it in Canvas, the teacher has to go into Canvas. And same thing for you. If someone sends you a message here in Canvas, you view it and respond to it in here. Whereas if you're using outside email, then you would use it in that. But in here, you can actually limit what the emails you see to a specific class if you'd like to by using the drop-down menu. So that might help you find a certain email that you may want to look for. You can even limit the view to either inbox, unread, starred messages, sent messages, as well as archived messages and review submission comments that you're using for when you turn in assignments. And we're not quite ready for working in assignments yet. We still need to talk about discussion posts. So I just wanted to make sure you understand how the email works and the difference between the Canvas email versus sending an email to the @yccd.edu. And if your instructor has a preference, they'll most likely tell you that on their syllabus, so make sure to look for it. So discussion posts are another great way to talk to your fellow students. Sometimes the discussion posts are used for assignments. And you can also get information from your teacher. So let me go into a different class for this one. So library, I'm going to library student training. Let me go into student view though, just so I can protect privacy as much as possible. It's the hard thing about doing the Canvas workshops. Since I'm not a student, it doesn't look exactly the same way you do, but I try to do my best to make sure you're not seeing anything and it looks the same. So I'm just going to go to discussion posts. These are all students that work in the library, at least in the past, and we haven't had any new students for a while. But you will notice on the discussion post page, you may be able to get to it over here in the in-class navigation if your teacher has it selected. If not, there may be other ways that you get to discussion posts because they could be part of a module. They're also listed in assignments if it's an assigned discussion post, which on these we can see here, right here, discussion, so there's several here. Now, a lot of times your instructor may have a pinned discussion, which you saw briefly flash on the screen. A lot of times those are a great place for instructors to put general class questions or questions to other students, because a lot of times you can post a question, another student may already have the answer, and when you ask it, then several other students also get the benefit of having the answer to it as well. And there could be ways that your teacher set up here for you to connect with them as well as other students. So just check out that in a class, maybe at the beginning of the semester, until it becomes clear about different ways to communicate with your fellow students and with the instructor. All right, so that was email and discussion posts, definitely two useful tools to help you communicate with your instructor and get information you need. So the next thing we're going to talk about is working with assignments. I want to make sure you understand where to look for assignment instructions, how to review feedback, and how to review a Turnitin originality report. So for this one, we go back to the dashboard. go back into student settings. Again, remember, you don't have to do that part. Okay, so under modules, and we have examples of different things that you can work with in here. It's just so you can practice using Canvas. So your teachers don't get these, but under saving class documents, there's a bunch of options for uploading different kinds of files. There's also one under avoiding plagiarism, and I'm going to add some more to the using Canvas module as well. Right now I have one listed, but it lists all the kinds of different file submissions. So I'm not going to show you that one just yet, but let me click on this one that says upload a Word file. So you'll notice here there's a lot of important information that you get right here under the title of this assignment. So of course the due date is usually very important, but because this class is for independent use, there is no due date, but usually that's something you would definitely want to make note of. And again, because this isn't for class, we have this set up for 0 points, although we do have points on our quizzes that we have in Canvas, just kind of for motivation. Plus, I think we kind of can't use 0, so we use a point system for that. Plus, it lets you kind of see how well you've learned the material. Notice in this one, it tells you how to submit it. So in this case, you're submitting a file upload, and that's a file upload to here, to Canvas. And the file types in this case would be a Word document, so doc or docx. And then we have different instructions here that your instructor would put in. They may also have links to other files or websites or anything that they need you to look at to submit assignment. And then when you're ready to submit assignment, you click submit. And in this case, you can choose the file from your computer and then submit it. You can even add a submission comment if there's something that you need to communicate to the instructor about it. So this is an example of an assignment that requires a Word document. So here's another example. In this case, it's a website URL. You probably won't see this very often with instructors, but if instructors want you to use a website, maybe they have you creating a blog, maybe they allow you to use Google Docs or the Office 365, although Office 365 is also integrated in this because everybody has that included in their student email account. So you can access that in your student email, and you can usually access the files from here. It's just not coming up at the moment. And then another option is the turn it in submission. In this case, it's a file upload, turn it in enabled. And this one, it's not restricted to a certain document type. And this one, it's already been submitted. So I can go to submission details if I would like to view the comments, but we're going to come back to this one in a minute. Let me show you the one other one, because there is one other way to submit assignments to your teacher. And the other one is a text submission. So there'll be a little box there where you can either type something in. So here's the example of this one. So this one allows you to submit it in any way you'd want to practice. But some teachers may have an assignment where you only have this text entry. So you simply type, or you can copy and paste from a Word document. Simply type your text here, or copy from a Word document, and then you would submit that there. So occasionally I see that. Usually I don't see an instructor has it set up so you can do all at once. We just set up this one just so you can practice, and you can even resubmit the assignment. In this case, not all teachers have assignments set up where you can resubmit them because it always depends on their goals. So let's go back so we can review. So you've submitted assignments and your teacher says that they left you feedback. So how do you get to that feedback? So in this case, we wanted to go to test your assignment for plagiarism because I know I've submitted one here. And I know I've submitted it because notice it says resubmit here as well as submission is turned in here. So if I hit submission details, I have two options. I can review the originality report by clicking on this little colorful icon here, and it'll bring up the originality report for me. It's just taking a second to log in. In this case, it tells me it's 33% matched with information that's in the Turnitin database as well as online. So if I click on that, it even shows me the different locations. So it looks like a lot of this is coming from this Colorado University, which is, I'm surprised that there's only 33% on this because it's a checklist for APA. So it's like, I'm sure tons of other people have created things like this that are available online. So as far as this Turnitin goes, Usually it's safe to say if you have between 0 and 25%, you shouldn't have to worry too much. If it's 25% or over, your instructor may start getting worried about it. Although we even have one story where a student wrote an autobiography and it just so happened to match someone else's. So it was coming up as plagiarized, but it was their own story. But if teachers notice that, they will of course talk to you about it. Or if you can test submit something, in fact, you can do that in the Academic Success Workshops Canvas course. You can test an assignment for plagiarism before it's due, and then take that originality report to your instructor or the Reading and Writing Center and the Student Success Center, and they can help you understand and help you to make sure that there isn't some way you need to change your document so you have less instances of plagiarism in it. But usually 0 to 25% is safe. Sometimes I see 35% as the cutoff, but again, it could be different for every teacher in which class it's in. So if you have any worries about that, ask the teacher for that course. So that's the Turnitin feedback. Now teachers can also leave feedback, so we'd click View Feedback to see that. I can move this around a bit and expand it. And as you can see, we have a teacher who left feedback, and so we have comments that point to different areas. You can download this, but I find that in most cases when I open it up, it doesn't show the comments from the teacher in it. So, but you can definitely see it here, but on a smaller screen, I know this would be hard. It's better to view this on a bigger screen if you can. So, and you can always use the Open Media Lab in the library if you need a computer, if you're limited to a small screen size. They're a little bit bigger. They're not huge, but they'll get you by. Okay, so that's reviewing how to review the feedback, as well as reviewing a Turnitin originality report and the different ways to submit assignments. So next thing we wanted to highlight is the app. So if you download the app, these are all screenshots from a mobile device. In this case, they're a phone. Some students have issues when they first log in. So when you first download the app, you need to click Find My School. And then the next step is to type in Yuba, or start to type in Community College District. And once you see it come up, you click on that. I know a lot of students are have been entering Woodland Community College, and then it doesn't come up, so they think they can't use it. But just search for Yuba Community College District, and then select that. And then it'll come up with the login screen. So then you would log in. And then once you do this, you only have to do it once. It'll jump straight to the navigation screens once you do that. So here's some other screenshots. In this case, it's from a tablet, so it's a little bit bigger. So this is a screenshot of the landing page in Canvas. So it looks similar. Notice the global navigation is down here at the bottom. Sorry, my little slide thing is coming up, but we can see it down here at the bottom. You can see messages, notifications, to-do, calendar, and courses, unfortunately, is covered up. You can select which class you want to go into by clicking on the appropriate class title. Once you're in a course, the navigation, of course, will depend on how the instructor has it set up. So these are two examples. One is the Academic Success Workshops Canvas course, and you can see all our modules. And then the other one's Library Science, and it just shows different reading quizzes that they had for that class. So that's just two examples. There could be some features that if they don't work, they'll come up with a little notice saying to go to the desktop version to get to that. But it will let you submit assignments here. So you may want to look for our new workshop in spring 2018 on how to submit assignments using mobile devices, where we'll highlight that in more detail. The calendar is there. The only thing with the calendar is it has a little dot next to it, as most mobile devices do for calendars. So you'd have to click on that to get the details of that. So at this point, if you have any questions, please go on to the corresponding discussion post in the Academic Success Workshop Series module using Canvas to submit assignments and stay organized. We'll look for your questions there and answer them as soon as possible. You can also visit the library for help with Canvas, as well as the Student Success Center. So we look forward to seeing you soon. Hope you learned a lot. Bye.